More and more, it has become important in my life to live in the flow. And I believe that every woman deserves that. And I believe that every woman can have it, despite of any responsibilities, of any obstacles that they have in their lives. They can have it, and you can have it. My name is Yeva. I'm a relationship coach, and I help women to deepen their relationship with their feminine essence and become a safe embrace for themselves, so that they can live life with ease because they have the support from within. So let's now discuss, what does it mean living in the flow? I believe there are 4 aspects, and I would like to give examples from my own personal experience and my own personal journey. So the first aspect is about when action taking is easy. You may have been in a situation where you set a goal and you wanted to achieve that goal, but somewhere deep inside you just couldn't get to that. You felt so much resistance. Or even if you took action, it didn't lead you anywhere. So this is an experience of opposite of inspired action. Inspired action is easy to take because it is aligned with our beliefs, with our values, with who we are. So let's give an example from, again, my own personal experience. For a long time, it has been really hard for me to create videos for Instagram. And when I allowed myself to sit and ask myself, why is it that I feel so much resistance towards this? I realized that I really wanted to share my life with people. I really wanted to share meaningful experience and deep experiences with people. And I just couldn't fit that into the limit of 3-minute video. It was really challenging for me every time I had to put myself into that limit. So I stopped doing Instagram posts. Maybe I will come back to it at some point, but for now, I was looking and thinking, is there any other way for me to express in the way that feels good for me, in the way that I can express myself meaningfully and deeply? And of course, YouTube was a solution. So now making videos is much more easier, much more aligned to who I am and how I like to share myself with people. So let's go to the second aspect of living life in a flow, and that is about being present. There are different ways of creating presence in your life. But for me personally, the one that resonates the most and is easiest is when I allow myself to drop into my body and connect with my body moment by moment by moment. And it really doesn't matter what I'm doing, whether I'm talking to a neighbor, whether I'm working on a project, whether I'm washing my dishes, or I'm queuing for my groceries to be checked out. If I allow myself to connect with my body, that whole experience becomes somehow so much more meaningful. I feel less stressed. My breath becomes deeper. I feel more connected with myself, and the air becomes thinner and softer somehow. A tedious thing like standing in a queue becomes somehow very special. I want to share a quote from Albert Einstein, who said that there are 2 ways of living a life. One as if nothing is a miracle. Another is as if everything is a miracle. And I think that when we allow ourselves to become more present, moment by moment by moment, we are creating a miracle in our lives and for ourselves. So there is an art of connecting with your body, and I would like to invite you, if you are interested, to check that out in a separate video. But for now, we're going to go to the third aspect of living life in the flow, which is about trusting yourself and not overthinking. I am a tango dancer. That's my greatest passion in life. And although I am not a professional dancer, I have always strived to be a better dancer, to be closer to the people that I saw dancing professionally, that I liked. And in my learning journey, I have discovered that there are two approaches to learning. One was about pushing your body, building the muscle, trying to be better, making an effort. And of course, that puts me into this mode of overthinking, constantly questioning myself whether what I'm doing is right or wrong, and whether it feels good for another person as well. And of course, I started with that. But then at some point, I thought to myself, you know what, this doesn't really feel like a right approach for me. And since then, I developed my own personal practice of listening to my body through a very gentle, subtle movement. And although in the moment, as I was practicing, connecting with my body, listening to my body, learning about how my body moves, it felt like it was not doing anything to my tango. I then later realized how much my tango has improved because I applied everything that I learned through this practice into my tango dancing. And two things that I would like to share with you about this idea of trusting yourself. First of all, when you find an approach that feels good, it is easier to trust that than something which is more forced and requires more effort, and it feels like it's against you. And the second thing is that even though it doesn't feel that it's getting you closer to your goal, to where you want to be, it will not lead you astray. It will lead you to be better towards that goal. So I would really encourage you to try this. Perhaps choose something that is not work related, where there is less at stake, where you're allowed to make mistakes. And see how you can do this without overthinking, and whether you can really trust the process of just getting involved and trust the process of just doing without overthinking. So let's go now to the last aspect of living in the flow, which is focus. And focus is about being engaged in something that is really important to us. Now, our lives are not perfect. We are constantly distracted by social media, by the people around us who are requiring our attention every time. But I think when you discover that something is important to you, and you are in the process of engaging in this thing that is important to you, and you commit to that moment that is important to you, it is then easier to see everything else as a distraction, and really allowing yourself to witness everything else as a distraction. And when we are consciously seeing something as a distraction, and we are acknowledging that this is a distraction, it is easier then to respond to that distraction appropriately, whether to eliminate ourselves from that or to say no. So, for example, I have been recently working with a very important project and I wanted to complete it. And of course, in the midst of it, my brother calls and he says, "It's such a beautiful day, let's go out. Let's go out to the park." And of course I wanted to go. And of course I wanted to, spend some time with my brother on a beautiful day. But then I realized, but I'm doing something important here. And I realized in that moment that my brother was a distraction. And I kindly had to say to him, let's plan it another day, because I am wanting to finish something very important to me. And he was fine with it. When you are choosing the thing that is the most important to you, it will always feel good. It doesn't matter that I had to sacrifice not going out with my brother. And some people say, "Oh, you're sacrificing yourself. You should be enjoying. You should be enjoying the weather. You should be enjoying the day." And sometimes people will try to convince you and try to put the pressure to tell you what is the right thing to do. The thing is that when you choose that thing that is the most important in that moment, you will feel good. You will feel strong. You will feel proud. So bear that in mind and create more moments in your life where you know exactly what is important to you, so that you can see everything else as distractions and you can let these distractions slide away. So we are at the end of this video, and just for one moment I would like to invite you to pause, and you can even close your eyes and you can even put your hands on your heart, and I would like you to imagine that you are able to live your life in the flow. How would it feel? How would it feel in your body? How would it feel in your mind? What possibilities would open up for you if you were allowed to do this? If you allow yourself to live in the flow? Now, I want to leave you with this, but I'm also hearing that you might be saying, yes, I understand everything that you shared. It feels good. It feels right. But, and the but is an obstacle, and we will always have obstacles. And so I would like to invite you to check out that next video where I'm talking about living in the flow. But we are delving deeper into the obstacles, what they are, and how we can talk to it and negotiate with it, so that we can still create a space and possibility for us to live in the flow. So I leave you with that, and I also want to say that I believe in you. You are amazing, you are important, and you deserve all